Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tour Tuesday. It's good to see you again. Thank you so much for joining us. It's lovely to be here inside in air conditioning. It's awfully hot outside. Hello to all of the people that I spent last week with in Richmond at our birthday bash. So it's good to see you again, and thank you for joining us. And thank you to all of our returning travelers and all of the folks that are tuning in for the first time. We've got a really exciting presentation, 5 tours. We've got 5 tours for you today. So we're going to jump right in because we have a lot to talk about. And we have lots of guests. So we'll introduce our guests one at a time as we begin to talk about each program. So the 5 programs we have to talk about are Plymouth, Massachusetts, a Pilgrim Thanksgiving, where we will actually be away over Thanksgiving. Exciting. So if those of you you don't have family, or you want to change the scenery, or you want to bring family along, this is a trip for you. We've got a lot of solo travelers on this trip. We've got some siblings, we've got couples, we've got friends. So I absolutely invite anyone and everyone to join us on this trip. Then we'll be talking about White Mountains Christmas, which features the Mount Washington Hotel. Super exciting to hear about. Then we're going to be talking about the Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. And I know lots of you want to hear about that because that's a very special resort as well. Then we're going to be talking about Williamsburg, Virginia, Colonial holiday. They do fun stuff in December, and we'll be there for it all. And then our last and final tour of the year, we're going to go out with a bang, and we'll be talking about our Toby's Dinner Theater New Year's Eve celebration package. So I think all of these tours are going to be great, and I want you to hear all about them. We are going to start in chronological order with Thanksgiving. I mean, today is September 5th, so we are basically like less than 3 months from Thanksgiving.
Right.
Pretty crazy to think about, but I guess just walk outside and then you'll forget about it. So this one is November 23rd through 25th, 3 days, 2 nights. 4 meals are included, and it's $6.99 per person double occupancy and $8.99 per person single occupancy. I would like to introduce Paula Fisher. Paula is Deputy Director of Plymouth. SEE Plymouth is the Tourism Bureau of Plymouth, Massachusetts. And I've known Paula for many, many years. We've brought groups to Plymouth for a really long time. In fact, let's see. I'm gonna unshare my screen so I can, well, to unshare my screen. There we go. This way you guys can see Paula. Paula, go ahead and wave to everybody, and I'll pin you to the top. There she is, and I'll spotlight you.
Right.
So say hello.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to America's hometown, Plymouth, Massachusetts.
Awesome. Excellent. Let's see. So that means we are going to be ready to start talking about our Plymouth trip. So here we go. All right, Paula, why don't you take us through the itinerary if you would?
Sure. Well, I see that you'll be in our neighboring sister New England state of Connecticut before you arrive in Plymouth. I've been to Mohegan Sun myself. I'm not much of a gambler, but I certainly did enjoy my time at Mohegan Sun when I was there. Probably a Discover New England Summit as well. And then you'll make your way to Plymouth. One of the wonderful things about the Hilton Garden Inn is the fact that it is in a shopping plaza called Colony Place. So if you've got a little free time at the hotel, you've got so many choices of restaurants that you might want to eat at on your own or go shopping. It's a fairly new complex, and it's really nice. It's about 3 miles outside of Plymouth Center. So it's a really nice property.
Is the Hampton Inn and the Hilton Garden Inn right next to each other? Because I think we're at the Hampton Inn.
Yeah, the Hampton Inn is at Colony Place. The Hilton Garden Inn is about 5 miles away at a different property. So if I
Oh,
said
perfect.
If I said Hilton
That's
Garden, I
Hilton
didn't mean
Garden Inn,
to.
but I
So
think you meant to say Hampton
yeah,
Inn.
yes, Hampton Inn and Suites. Yes,
Awesome, awesome. And then we'll be here for 2 overnights. This is where we'll spend our time in Plymouth.
exactly. And you never know how busy it's busy on Thanksgiving Day, but it's not like it's Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania during Groundhog Day. It's not as crowded as that. So certainly one of my favorite places in Plymouth is the Plymouth Patuxent Museum, formerly called Plymouth Plantation. I actually worked there for 13 years. I was a pilgrim, if you will. I was one of the costumed interpreters there. And they do such a nice job of really telling you the true history of the region. And I see that you'll be having a Thanksgiving dinner, which is based on the Victorian Thanksgivings that we're all familiar with today. If you saw what the Pilgrims actually ate when they had their harvest feast in 1621, you probably wouldn't want to eat what they ate. So this should be delicious, and it's a beautiful complex, and and you get to go twice, if I'm not mistaken. You get to actually so you get to have the dinner that night in the Henry Hornblower Visitor Center. He's the gentleman that created Plymouth Patuxent Museums, if you will, back 75 years ago. So you should enjoy that quite a bit. And the food is always good, put on by the people that do the food service at Plymouth Patuxent Museums. It's wonderful.
Great. Yes. And remember, so day one, we're actually departing on Thanksgiving Day. So it's nice. So there's not much to do on Thanksgiving. A lot of the places are closed. So it's a travel day for us. And when we get to the hotel, we'll unpack and then we'll head over to the visitor center and then for dinner.
Great.
Next day.
The next day is when you get to see the sights. And it's changed a bit. You'll start perhaps at the Native American home site, where you will see, I was just there this past weekend with my grandchildren, and I noticed that in the home site, there are Native people that work there. They may or may not be in Native costume, because they want to specify the fact that the natives didn't all die out, 400 years ago. They still exist, and they tell their story. And then the English village, or as we used to call it, the Pilgrim Village, fascinating, with costume interpreters who are pretending to pretend. They know who they are. They're people who were there 400 years ago. They know their histories. Fascinating to talk to, along with the things you can see and do while you're there. And then following that, you'll just move the 3 miles down to the harbor, where Mayflower 2 has been sitting since 1957, when she came over from England. She was a gift to the American people by the English people for helping out during World War II. And I think that's important. That story continues. And then the Plymouth Grist Mill is actually a reproduction of the grist mill that was built by a pilgrim, John Jenny, who came over in 1623. And instead of being a farmer and creating his own, working for himself, he ended up being the first person who was actually paid to be there. He didn't have to be a farmer. People brought him what he needed to survive, so that he would indeed grist the milled corn, so that they could make their own bread. So I think you'll really enjoy. And it's usually a really nice time of year. And obviously, we all have our fingers crossed that the weather cooperates, but it usually is a nice time of year in Plymouth.
Great. Awesome.
And of course, you have to see Plymouth Rock. If you've never seen it before, don't expect the Rock of Gibraltar. And of course, it was over 100 years later before an elderly gentleman pointed the rock out as being the place that people stepped on in order to leave. They came in on a small boat, used the rock to step on, perhaps to not get their feet wet, as they did arrive in December. But you'll get to see Plymouth Rock and the portico there, and just right next door, Mayflower 2, who is just back in 2020. She was completely refurbished with new painting, and I was just again on it this past weekend, and it's lovely. And there you'll speak with the people who know both the history of the original Mayflower that arrived in 1620 and the history of the Mayflower 2 that was built in England. So that's quite a bit to see. And it's Pilgrim Memorial State Park. It's Massachusetts' largest state park, where they're located.
And it's right on the harbor, right?
Right on the harbor. When you look out, you're going to see Long Beach, which is a 3-mile beach that sticks out. And then if you have really good eyesight, you can look 20 miles across the bay and see the tip of Cape Cod, which is Provincetown. And then now, certainly, this is really special. The Pilgrim Hall Museum is the oldest continuously operating museum open to the public in America. September 1 is her birthday. She was 199 years old. And then next year she will be 200 years old. And they have some wonderful exhibits, new exhibits about the myths of the Pilgrim things people think they know, but they don't. And also this incredible tapestry that was begun years ago, before 2020, in order to tell the Pilgrim story with tapestry. And they've have some of the panels out, and you are going to be amazed at how beautiful they are. And with a guided tour, especially, you're really going to be behind the scenes and get to know things that the average person might not realize.
That sounds awesome.
Mm.
And then our dinner tonight is at the Cabbie Shack. Paula, do you know the Cabbie Shack?
Oh, I know it very well. I have one of those member cards, where you eat enough and you get some points. It's, again, right on the waterfront. It's a fun, lively place. There are probably 15 or 20 restaurants on the waterfront. And it is, they're one of the best. They're just, and Cabbie, his name is actually Cabbie, the gentleman who owns it.
Oh.
And he's great. He's always a big help. But while I say that, that's on Water Street on the water side, but I noticed that you'll have a bit of free time. Feel free to come back up to Court Street and see some of the shops on our downtown Main Street. The waterfront gets all the attention, but Main Street, Court Street, is really a good place. And that is where the Pilgrim Hall is as well. So, but don't be afraid to go back and forth. But yeah, you're going to love Cabbie Shack.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh, and then we wake up and this is our day. We come home, unfortunately.
No.
But we do get to go to the Mashantucket Pequot Museum, which is fantastic. I know you've been there before, Paula, right?
I have indeed. And they do a wonderful job of recreating the Native American life back in the time period. Well, I mean, the Native Americans have been on this land documented for over 10,000 years, and they're able to really do a chronological picture of the changes and what life was like for those people who, as I say, still exist today. They're not gone.
Awesome. Awesome. And then we'll stop at Foxwoods where we can have lunch in one of their many different restaurants. Mm-hmm. And then we'll come home. So it's a quick Thursday, Friday, Saturday trip for us. And but again, sometimes really nice to get away for the holiday. Don't have to deal with all of the family dynamics in some cases, or you just want to change the scenery. We welcome you. You will be part of the Starr family for 3 days for sure. Thank you so much, Paula. Does anybody have any questions for Paula? Now's your time. While you're thinking of questions, I will tell you, the tour director for this trip is Angie Belmont. There are 38 people already booked, so we have 16 seats left. So if you're thinking about booking, I highly recommend that you give us a call soon. Anybody think of any questions for Paula? I guess you did such a good job. They have no questions. Thank you so much. You can pop off anytime, but feel free to stay on as well to learn about the other trips that we're offering. So now I would like to, I'll say reintroduce Jane Peters Estes. Many of you know Jane personally from being on a tour with her. There she is, she's waving. Or maybe you've seen her on one of these Tour Tuesdays. Jane has been a tour director with us for longer than I've been at Starr Tours, let's just say. And she's a wealth of knowledge. We're having her present on this tour because I think she's an expert. So let me just share my screen. There we go. So this tour is the beginning of December. It's 4 days, 3 nights, so December 5th through 8th. It includes 6 meals. It's $19.49 per person based on double occupancy, and $24.49 based on 1 person in a room. And yes, that's a real picture of this hotel. And hopefully, Jane, you're going to be ordering the snow. Does that come with it? You'll have a little picturesque, snowy look just like this, right?
I'm going to try to guarantee snow. Yes.
All right. Awesome.
It would make me happy.
If anybody could do it, you can. So I will let you take it away from here, Jane.
Well, before I go to New Hampshire, I just have to say a number of years ago, I had the privilege to work the Plymouth plantation on Thanksgiving. I worked, Bud Cartwright was my driver, and it was an incredible experience to be there for Thanksgiving. I mean, it's a wonderful place to visit any time of year. You buy something with cranberries in it because everything they make with cranberries is delicious. But it was just wonderful. I can't recommend it highly enough. So
Great.
I'm glad you were here to talk about it, Paula. So it's always nice to have a local to hear that it's still up there. I got to get back one of these days. Well, I'm here to talk about New Hampshire, and I had family in New Hampshire for many years who lived in Keene, so I used to spend quite a bit of time up there on my own. But this will be a first time for me to ever stay at the Omni Mount Washington Resort. I can't tell you how many times we have ridden past it, and I kept thinking, oh my goodness, I'd love to stay there. The place is gorgeous. Well, if any New Hampshire region is synonymous with incredible scenery, it's the White Mountains. There are 48 peaks that are taller than 4,000 feet, and the highest mountain on the northeastern United States is there, Mount Washington, over 6,000 feet high. So we are talking scenery like you wouldn't believe. On day one, we're going to travel up to Bretton Woods, New Hampshire. We will stop for lunch, which will be on your own, en route, and we will make a couple of rest breaks because it is a bit of a drive to get up there. After checking into our room and getting settled, we're going to include dinner at the hotel that night. So you don't have to worry about going out again on the bus. Once we get to the hotel the first day, you're settled for the rest of the day. It's going to be our home for the 3 nights of the tour. And the Omni Mount Washington Resort was constructed in 1900. At the time, it cost $1.7 million, which in today's money is like $60 million. And it took 2 years to complete it. It was just designed to be a luxurious getaway for wealthy people to go in the summertime to get away from the heat of the cities. The builder brought in 250 artisans from Italy to do the masonry work and the granite work. So you're going to see some really incredible hand carved. The facility is just beautiful inside. At its completion, it had over 2,000 doors, 12,000 windows, and more than 11 miles of plumbing. I mean, you have to understand how huge this property is. It's an absolutely amazing property when you see it. Well, over the decades, it has expanded. It was briefly closed during World War II because of the war going on just for 2 years. And it was only a summer resort for many years. It wasn't until 1999 it opened for its first season in the winter. And it continued to grow. In 2009, it added another 50,000 square feet, which included a spa and a conference center. And P.S., for those of you who are into it, I know Halloween's coming up. The hotel has been featured twice on 2 episodes of the television series Ghost Hunters. So if you're into that, that's one more reason to visit the hotel. It's one of the last surviving grand hotels in the White Mountains, and it was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1986. So this is just a tiny bit of history. When we have our tour of the hotel, I know you're going to learn more, but I just wanted to point out to you a few things that make this one of the most special places you will ever stay. On day 2, we have a delicious breakfast included. Then we're going to head to Mount Washington to enjoy a ride on the Cog Railway. The great circusman P.T. Barnum referred to the view from the top of the mountain as the second greatest show on earth. And you know, he put on a lot of fantastic circus shows, but to him, it was the second best thing he had ever seen. And I'm hoping that we have the snow that you're seeing in the picture here, because that would make it even better. Mount Washington Summit is the highest peak in the Northeast, and the Cog was the first mountain climbing cog railway anywhere in the world, which makes it incredibly special. There are 7 powerful biodiesel locomotives. Each one was custom designed, built, and maintained to provide the thrilling ride all the way to the top of the mountain. You need to keep your eyes open for wildlife because when you're on the cog, it's not unusual to see bear or moose. And while we're at the summit, at the Walbach station, we're going to have a complimentary hot beverage and an opportunity to get those wonderful pictures of the breathtaking views. Then we'll come back down. We're going to have some time in the Cog Railway Museum and Gift Shop before heading to our next location. And when we depart Mount Washington, we're going to travel to the town of Littleton, New Hampshire. Settled in 1769, this delightful little village has a number of historic homes and lovely views of the Ammonoosuc River. It even has a covered bridge. You can't go to New England without a covered bridge. You're going to have free time here for lunch and time to explore the 30+ unique little shops and boutiques that Littletown hosts. Then we're off to the Rocks Estates Christmas Tree Farm. It is still privately owned by a family that is dedicated to forestry and preservation, and it's best known as a Christmas tree farm, but the 1,400-acre property is much more. Originally the home of the well-to-do Glessner family, The estate includes several buildings that are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and we'll enjoy a horse-drawn wagon ride through the farm. You can see a picture of it there, and then participate in a Christmas activity. We'll head back up to the Omni Hotel for a chance to freshen up a bit, and then we'll have our dinner, which is included with your tour, and we'll have the rest of the evening at the hotel to enjoy. On day 3, after another delicious breakfast, we're going to have a Christmas cookie making demonstration and a guided tour of the hotel. This hotel is so large, there are areas that you would never find on your own without a guide. So it's important that we have a tour with a local guide to get us through it. Lunch is going to be accompanied by piano music, and that's also included in your package. And then we're off to the village of North Conway to take advantage of New Hampshire's tax-free shopping. Yes, they are tax-free shopping. Of course, no visit to North Conway is complete without a stop at the Bavarian Chocolate House. And remember, Christmas is coming. What better present can you get than really good chocolates? Or if you wish and you don't want to go out again, you are free to spend the rest of that afternoon at the hotel to enjoy the amenities there. Dinner on your own is on day 3 with a wonderful selection of eateries right on the property. On day 4, once again, breakfast is included at the hotel. Then we'll check out of the hotel and head home, filled with wonderful memories of the tour and anticipation for the coming holidays ahead. And just a couple of heads up from me, since I've been up to New Hampshire in the winter. Winter temperatures can average in the 20s and 30s. So what I'm recommending to you, if you decide to come on this trip, please bring a warm hat, scarf, gloves, and there's always a chance of snow even earlier in the year, but we're going to be there in December, so there's a good chance. So please, warm and slip resistant footwear is also suggested. And if anybody has any questions about the tour, what to pack or whatever, you can always email me at janestartours@yahoo.com, and I promise I'll get back to you. Thank you.
Awesome presentation. That definitely got me in the holiday spirit for sure. And it maybe gave me like a little chill, maybe took 10 degrees off of the
I wish.
So, thank you again. Does anybody have any questions for Jane? While you're thinking of your questions, I will tell you, Jane is the tour director for this trip. The dates are December 5th through 8th. There are 29 people already booked, 15 seats left. So if you're thinking about booking, highly recommend booking soon on this trip, and it will be very special. As Jane said, this is the first time we've ever done a program like this. We've certainly never stayed at this resort before, and it should be really, really special. All right. Thank you, Jane. Very good.
You're welcome.
All right, let's see if I can find my friend Christine Durling. Let's see, Christine, do I see you? Talk to me, Christine, so I can find you. Oh, there she is.
Yes, there. Oh, she's on mute.
She's on mute, and I actually don't see her face. So let me, Chris.
Now can you hear me?
Oh, you must be calling in.
No, I'm not. I've been watching you the whole time.
Okay, you're over here. All right, so we can't see you, but that's okay. We can hear you.
Okay.
So everybody, this is Christine Durling, that you can hear her voice. Maybe some of you recognize her voice. Christine has been a tour director with us for also a very, very, very long time. And we're very thankful that she is here presenting, as she has been to the Greenbrier Resort many times. And she wanted to share this tour with you because she loves it so very much. Am I right, Chris?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, my favorite holiday tour.
That's awesome. So let me share my screen. And okay, so this tour departs December 10th and returns on the 12th. So it's a 3-day, 2-night trip. There are 2 breakfasts included. It's $8.99 per person based on 2 people in a room, and $12.69 per person based on 1 person or single occupancy. So I will let Christine take it away from here.
Okay, so as Sandy indicated, this is really one of my favorite holiday tours. Of course, there are so many great holiday tours that Starr does, but anytime any of our passengers ask, what's your favorite tour? I have to say the Greenbrier. I was lucky enough to escort this tour a number of times, and each time I go back, I fall in love even more. I'd like to say that the Greenbrier is sophisticated. It has old world charm, and it's definitely a place where you want to put your feet up. Unlike the White Mountain tour that you just heard Jane talk about, this is as beautiful, as cold because you'll be up in the Allegheny Mountains, but you're not going to be visiting any other place other than the resort itself. So you can really dive in and really experience the great majesty of this beautiful hotel. So let me tell you about the hotel first. As I said, it is located in the Allegheny Mountains in White Sulphur Springs, West Virginia. The Greenbrier is touted as America's resort with tons of four-season activities. 28 presidents, our U.S. presidents and world dignitaries have stayed here. Grace Kelly, Prince Rainier, Wallace Simpson, remember her? She spent her first honeymoon here. Bing Crosby, Joseph Kennedy and his family, and Indira Gandhi. I mean, this is really, in the beginning, it was a playground for the rich and the famous. So the Majestic Hotel is situated on about 6,000 acres. It has 700 plus rooms dating back to 1778 when visitors came to this area to take the waters. It was a curative natural springs that was founded by the Native Americans. As our first presenter indicated, the Native Americans were around long before us, and they still remain. One of the local ladies heard about the waters, and she indicated that it actually healed whatever was bothering her, and word got out over the mountains. And then the people that had the means, they found their way over to the Greenbrier. It has been used, besides a hotel, it has been used as a relocation for diplomats who were considered our enemies during World War II. And then it was also used as a hospital during World War II, where it served 25,000 patients in 5 years of operation. The Justice family now own the hotel. They rescued it from disrepair and bankruptcy in 2009 when it was owned by the railroad. Jim Justice, he's the current governor of West Virginia. Evidently, his family does have some extra money laying around. So they purchased this hotel, and his wife is the one that really runs the daily operation of the hotel. And I can see her her touch on in every room. The hotel is so clean, and you always see people walking around wiping this, vacuuming here and there, and so I can see how his wife is on it for her guest. In keeping with the interior design, Sandy has been going back and forth with the different pictures here, and I want you to pay attention to the rugs, the wallpaper, the colors. The colors are predominantly pink, white, black and white. You'll see a lot of checkered floors all over the place here. And that was a result of Dorothy Draper. She was an interior designer back in the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s. And when she passed on, a company took over really her ideas and her theme, and they keep it going at the Greenbrier. So when you step into the Greenbrier, you're stepping back in time. And not only in what your eyes see, but what you hear, which is almost nothing, because everyone, they speak quietly. There's music playing, but it's quiet. It really makes you feel that you're back in time before all of our technology, and you can really take advantage of it. There are many, many places to sit. There's sofas, love seats. In little corners of these grand rooms, you'll find people sitting at desks, and they're actually using a pen and pencil or paper, and they're writing. People have their feet up and they're reading. It's just a really nice way to get away for the holidays. The public rooms are grand with floor-to-ceiling windows dressed in lush drapery. I'm always amazed when I walk through these wide hallways, the drapery, and it just extends from the ceiling down to the floor. And I'm always in awe to think that I'm wondering who has to clean all of that, but also just that it adds so much to the hotel itself. In your bedrooms, don't get shocked when you open your door for the first time, because when you do so, you will be greeted with floor to ceiling wallpaper like you've never seen before. And so it'll be big prints of pink and whites and greens. And then it doesn't stop there, because it coordinates with the bedding. So you'll have the same wallpaper on the walls and the same design on your bedding. So it's a lot to take in when you first open the door, but you really get used to it very quickly. Okay, so much
There's
to
a
do.
reason we're not showing even more pictures, because we don't want to give it away.
Right.
We want you to come see it for yourself.
Exactly. But there's so much to see there. So when we arrive, you will be greeted by the hotel staff. Your luggage will be taken to your rooms, and then you'll have some time to prepare for dinner. Now, there are different ways to go about the dinner for your first evening there, because it will be on your own. We suggest that you call the different restaurants in the hotel and book your reservations, because this is not a place that just because it's up in the mountains, nobody knows where it's at, because you will see a number of people there. So you want to make sure that you do have your reservation intact when you before you arrive. So if you know you're going to check or book this hotel, you most likely at this juncture even to book your reservation. So I'll tell you about the restaurants in a minute, but we'll just go in order with the food. So, all right, the first night you get there, you need to check in with your restaurants. And so the one restaurant is called the Prime 44. That's a steakhouse, very expensive. But what I'm told from the passengers is that it's well worth it. There is also the Forum. The Forum is an Italian restaurant. They have pizzas there, so you don't have to spend a lot of money on your first night there. You can just grab a pizza, but you probably do want to make that reservation. When I go in, that's where I go the first night, and I get meatballs. And their meatballs are delicious, and I stopped getting a small pizza because I can't eat the pizza and the meatballs, just too much, but so delicious. And then there's a coffee shop there for you if you want to pick up sandwiches the next day. There's Draper's Cafe, that's downstairs. You can have lunch there. There's an upper lobby bar. So when you get there, if you've had too much for lunch on the road and you just feel like getting a snack, you can go to the upper lobby bar, or you can go to the casino bar and you can order hamburgers, tacos, along with your beverages. And also, I understand they have soups and salads. So if you want to do that the first night and not really splurge on the big dinner the first night that you're there. So the big restaurants would be the Steakhouse and the Forum. There's an ice cream shop there, but that's open the next day when we get there. And there's a candy shop. So that's kind of the food offerings there. But I do want to tell you, the second day, we are going to have a breakfast that you'll be taking pictures of the way the breakfast is laid out. You'll be eating in the main dining room, which is absolutely stunning. And the wait staff, they're all dressed in black and white. Just so efficient and so nice, and they're always coming back to see if there's something else they can get you. So the buffet breakfast takes up, I'm going to say, almost 2/3 of the dining room. And every single thing you can imagine, breakfast and not, it's really a brunch, not so much just a breakfast, because there's so many different varieties of foods that if you walk away there hungry, then you'll walk away from there hungry, because the food is delicious, it's fresh, it's just laid out like a picture. You probably won't want lunch that day or the next day, because you'll be having breakfast in the same place, and the same kind of buffet or brunch breakfast. So you probably will skip lunch, maybe just go get some ice cream, but and you may even want to skip dinner. That's why I only get meatballs, because I eat too much for breakfast, and so that's enough. But I'm working, so I have to try out all this stuff too, because I have to do. We do reports every night, so I try to cover all my bases.
It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So, all right. So I told you about the food. Now, what do you do when you get there? Now, unlike Jane's tour, as I said, we will not be doing all of this outside activities, because the main time that we are there, and it's basically 2 nights, right, 3 days. We have other things to do with the resort itself. So the first thing I'm going to suggest is the house tour. The house tour is free, and I believe they only go one time during the day. And so you don't want to miss that if you can help it, if you're interested in it. But they will take you around the hotel, and they will explain the history of the hotel, which is unbelievable. The art pieces that are in the hotel, there is a story for everything. The other tour that I'm going to strongly suggest if you take this tour is the bunker tour. Now, this is extremely historical. If you haven't heard about the bunker before, you will when you get to the Greenbrier. This tour will cost you, last year it was $40, so hopefully they didn't up it. But the people who run these tours are volunteers, and the tour is a walking tour. It's about an hour and 15 minutes. You can't take anything in there, not even cell phones. So the bunker was built in the late 1950s at the request of President Eisenhower. He contacted the CEO of the then owner of the Greenbrier and asked if he would consider allowing the government to build a bunker that would hold 1,000 people on the side of this hotel. It was going to serve as a relocation area for our United States Congress if there were, in fact, a nuclear war. So they were going to bring congressmen, and probably the president too, just about 200 miles from Washington, D.C. over to the White Sulphur Springs in West Virginia. Now, the beauty about this story is that nobody knew it. It was top secret. The people in the village down the road, you'll pass through the little village. If you blink, you'll miss it. But the people in that village did not know that there was a bunker being built on the side of that hotel. They just thought it was an extension of the hotel. The few people that worked in there kept it going from the 1958 all the way to 1992. It was a secret until one of the former workers was drinking in a bar in Washington. What are the chances, sitting next to a writer from the Washington Post, and spilled the beans about this top secret place? They kept this place open 24/7 with communication going, making sure the phone lines worked. Every single thing worked in that place. But even they were going to have the pharmaceuticals for all of the Congress people, all their eyeglass prescriptions from a day-to-day basis in case something happened. And these people, our politicians, had to be taken over there to run our country under these conditions. So that in itself is so worth the tour. But I have to caution you, if you're taking this tour, I would get on the phone and definitely book your space, because they only do this walking tour. We'll only have time on the second day that we are there, and they only go, there's either 2 or 3 times during the day that they will take this tour. So you have to reserve your space. As I said, it is walking an hour and 10 or 15 minutes, and you can't take anything in there. But you will see, it's fascinating. Not to go over everything else in there, but really try to get there if you can. You won't be sorry. Okay, so what else do you do besides taking these tours? Okay, you can go to the casino. There are shops, women's clothes, men's clothes, toy shop. There's a souvenir shop. And I have to remind everybody, the Greenbrier Resort is very famous for its 4 professional golf I don't want to
Horses.
say golf clubs, golf courses. Thank you for and Sam Snead and Lee Trevino. They were the pros there at one time. So people that are really into golf would appreciate going over there. Except it is winter, so you won't be golfing, but you're going to a famous place that they have different tournaments and so forth. Okay, they have an indoor pool. All right, a fitness room. The pool is gorgeous. Nobody's ever in the indoor pool. It's all tiled. It's absolutely beautiful. You bring your bathing suit, definitely. You have an afternoon tea. Everybody, they ring a bell, and at 4 o'clock, everybody meets in the upper lobby. They have really nice music playing, tons of cookies, iced tea, and hot tea is served. You see what I mean by old world? It just makes you stop and just relax. It's so wonderful. They do have a spa, the mineral spa at the Greenbrier. So if you want to do some spa services, you can do that, but you're going to have to reserve. And of course, that's an extra fee. They have movie night every night, and they show the same movie every twice a night. I think like 7 o'clock and 9 o'clock. You need to see the Dream Tree. It's $1 million worth of Christmas gifts that are donated to the community, but all volunteers and the staff wrap those gifts starting just about now, I guess they start. But you'll see it's piled up like a Christmas tree. You need to see the chocolate display. That is put together by a world-class chocolatier that the Greenbrier has on staff 7 days a week, or 6 days a week. At least give them a day off. But absolutely beautiful. I mean, we're talking life-size soldiers made out of chocolate. I mean, I mean, the smell the aroma of the chocolate will tell you where that display is. It's just so great. All right. Of course, the entire place is decorated. There'll be 50 or more Christmas trees. You can go on horse and carriage rides. You can go on a trolley ride. They'll take you around the estate. There's ice skating. There's the presidential cottage on site. You can walk over there. The other cottages, some of them, they have juried artisans. So you may pick up some pottery, some jewelry, and whatever else, whoever else is there that day. And they have a shuttle that goes around the grounds. So if you're walking and you get tired and you don't want to walk back, just wait for the shuttle, pick you up and take you back. Another thing you can do is go across the street. There is the Christmas shop. Just go to the doorman, ask him to call the shuttle. The shuttle will take you across the street. You don't even have to walk that far because it's a distance from the main building over to the Christmas shop. When you're finished shopping, tell the clerk in the Christmas shop, and they will call the shuttle and they will come back and pick you up. So, okay. Maybe one thing I should tell you about is the dress, because they make a big deal of it. It's sort of like going on a cruise, but not really. I would say if you just dress business casual, which is just nice clothes, basically slacks, skirts, whatever you want to wear, ladies. And the men will need to bring a jacket if you are dining either in the main dining room at night, or you're going to the other restaurants at night, like for a sit-down meal. So there's no jeans. If they're jeans, they tell you that they have to be dark denim. No cutoffs, no He-Man shirts, no hats, no baseball hats. So I didn't see any these clothing police walking around. I didn't hear anything. Nobody got in trouble on my buses. So I think we're good to go. But believe me when I tell you, it's really, it's such a special trip. And if you don't do it for yourself, who's going to do it? And with that, I'm just going to say, I think I'm done unless somebody has any questions.
I think you said a lot, and I think that I'm going to the Greenbrier tomorrow, basically.
Yeah. Oh,
What you said.
yeah, please come on.
Cindy and Bridget, just tell everybody in the office I've gone to the Greenbrier because it sounds so awesome.
If I could just say one thing, the last trip I took, one of our passengers was on the bus, and she told me she was so upset that it was sold out. And I have to say, the past 3 years I've gone, it's been sold out. That she wanted to take her family. I mean, she wanted to bring like 6 people, and there were only 2 seats left. So she wasn't staying home. She left them home, and she came with her friends.
Well, right now there are 27 people booked and still 27 seats available. So if you want to go, obviously, this sounds fantastic. I think, Chris, you covered everything so beautifully. Thank you so much for being so thorough and presenting the information so well. I'm just sorry we can't see the excitement on your face.
I know. That's the right. You can look me up on the Starr tour directory.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Christine?
Good.
Awesome. Awesome.
All right.
Thank you again, Christine. All right, we've got 2 more tours to go through. So let's, I am going to reintroduce Sharon Kriska. On the last time we welcomed Sharon, we couldn't see your face, right? So now we can see her live and in person, and she is going
alone.
She's going to be taking us through the Williamsburg, Virginia Colonial holiday trip. And let me just do a few things over here to get us settled. Let's share. All right, Miss Sharon, take it away.
Thanks, Sandy.
I should probably introduce the tour. Sorry.
Go ahead.
So this tour is November 30th to December 3rd. I believe this is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. And Sharon's team at US Tours has planned this trip for us. We've been to Colonial Williamsburg at the holidays many times. In fact, Jane, I know you've been escorting this trip. And this time we've had somebody else plan it because you've got some really nice extras that you've put into this trip for us. So there's 6 meals. It is 4 days, 3 nights. $13.79 per person based on double occupancy, and $16.79 per person based on single occupancy. And Sharon is our representative from US Tours, and she was the one that creatively put this trip together. So we're going to have her tell you all about it.
Thanks, Sandy. Always great to be here with everyone and present our tours. And I'm excited to keep the Christmas spirit going after hearing all these other areas with winter holidays and Christmas celebrations, to share Williamsburg with everyone tonight. Obviously, Williamsburg has a lot of history as well. Just noting it does date back before Plymouth Rock. So they did come to Jamestown area first in early 1600s. So a lot of history in this area. as well as some just beautiful properties and things to see at Christmas time as well. So I'm going to just start with the itinerary. On the first day, we're traveled from the area to Williamsburg. It's about a 5.5 hour ride. We will be stopping so that you can have a rest stop and some lunch on your own. When we get there, we'll check into our hotel. On this itinerary, we're using the Comfort Suites, which is conveniently located to all of the areas in Williamsburg that we're going to be visiting. So we use Comfort Suites at the bypass, and this evening we're going to be going into the Colonial area and having dinner at one of the Colonial taverns. And this is always a really special experience. 18th century dining with all of the candlelight and all of the atmosphere going on, with classic fare that everyone enjoys. So that's our first day, and it's a really good relaxing evening then back at the hotel. On day 2, we're going to have a special breakfast this morning. So instead of just doing breakfast at the hotel, we're going to take everyone over to the Colonial Williamsburg Inn. And there we're going to have a special presentation by some of their chefs. And this is kind of a fun way to have breakfast, because the chef prepares different dishes of the 18th century time with a modern kind of twist to make it more of what we're used to eating, and things that kind of are on our palates today. So he will do the demonstration for us, and then we get to partake in enjoying the things that he's made, in addition to having a full breakfast besides. So it's just a really great experience. You get to go in and see the inn. The inn is decorated for Christmas, so it's a beautiful experience to be inside for that as well. But the breakfast is really a special celebration in the morning there. Then we're going to leave and we're going to head over to Jamestown, another historic area. Like I said, predates the arrival of the English in Plymouth. So it's early 1600s, they came into Jamestown. And you see here some of the pictures that they show are part of the Living History Museum and the settlement of Jamestown. So our visit there does include a visit to all of these sites. It does take us to the Powhatan Indian Village. The 3 original ships that they came on are still there. You can see in the upper left-hand corner. It is a working colonial fort. So there are, there are shopkeepers there. They're growing vegetables and fruits and doing all of those things, and they're canning them and keeping them for during the winter. So all of those activities are going on daily, and it's really great to just be there and feel a part of it. We're going to have lunch on our own, and then we're going to hop over and go to Newport News, not very far from Jamestown. And we're going to go there because this is probably one of the most exciting light displays in that area for Christmas. And they started doing this about 30 years ago in Newport News in the park. And what they do is they put up all of these displays, and then our bus can drive right through as we hear Christmas music playing at the same time. So it's a great experience because you're in the warmth of the bus. You don't have to be out in the cold. Here we go, talking about the weather again, right? Going from 90 degrees to worrying about being cold. But it's a great time because you can be on the bus. It's just the displays. As of I last heard, there were over 350 displays that they put up with millions of lights. And I think there was like over 50 some arches that the bus will drive through that's decorated with lighting as well. So it's just really something to see from the bus. Like I said, the warmth of your seat. And then we leave there, and we're going to head over to the Virginia Living Museum and Planetarium. And this is something special and unique that they do there at Christmas time. On a regular basis at the planetarium, they do offer stargazing and classes on stars and things like that in the evenings throughout the year. And it's always based on the stars for that particular time and where they are located. Well, at Christmas time, we all know that, the Star of Bethlehem is a very prominent part of the Christmas celebration. And so what better way at the planetarium to do a little learning and actually seeing the Star of Bethlehem and learning of some of the traditions beyond that. And then they do a little light show with Christmas music as well to kind of give you a little entertainment. So that ends out that day. And then day 3, we're going to do breakfast at the hotel this morning. And then we're going to just head over to the Colonial area. There's so much here to see and do, and I love it here. I know my kids love it here. I escort student tours here all the time, and I've never seen them disappointed. They just love it from the beginning. But at Christmas time, there's just something special. I think with all of the decorations and the atmosphere and all the excitement that goes on there. And there's no better day to be there than Grand Illumination, which is why we chose this date. And I know with Starr Tours, they've done it before, but it's just an exciting day to be in Williamsburg. So our visit starts with a walking tour, and with a guide, local guide, and they take us through the external part of the buildings. Here you see them decorated. Lower left-hand side is the Capitol building that's decorated. And so it's just a beautiful time. Again, I keep saying that word, but it is. There's nothing better to describe that. It's all decorated externally. Every building has candles out and fresh greenery, and they use all kinds of fresh fruit as decor. And so we take a walking tour to kind of see all those decorations, hear about how they're made and constructed, and then as the sun starts going down, we will go over and experience the next celebration that would be going on, which is again part of the Grand Illumination. As history has it, an illumination was always a celebration. So it was a celebration including firing of guns, fireworks. A lot of times they would have them if it was a hierarchy's birthday, or if there was a war won, or if the governor, did something special, they had a big celebration. It was always an illumination. So that's why it's so important, because it is truly a celebration of the holiday season in Williamsburg. And that's what makes this all come together. So what they do is they start with lighting of the cressets, which are iron baskets that hang on the main street. They fill them with wood and oil-soaked grass clippings, and then they light them on fire down the street. So that's the first part of the celebration that begins kind of like the ceremonial part of it. And then from there, they do a procession from the Capitol all the way up to Duke of Gloucester Street, which is like the main street, going right up the street, and they go all the way to the magazine, and that's the carrying of the Yule log. And so that whole procession is something you can take part in. When it gets to the magazine, you have the opportunity to put in a fresh sprig of greenery and put that onto like a bonfire. So it's like a good luck, make a wish type thing. So it's just, again, a great time to be there, a lot of warmth going on, a lot of celebration. And then of course it's topped off with the fireworks. So that's like the big final thing, is the fireworks over the Capitol, which is a great end to the evening.
I didn't realize there was all of that, all of those other facets to the illumination. That's
exactly right. It's just so much going on, and like I said, they really go all out. So just so much to see and do, and just a great area. That evening we are going to do dinner. We're going to have dinner included, and it'll probably be after the fireworks, which do end fairly early. It's not a late evening thing, so as soon as it gets dark, they do them. So we'll have dinner that evening included as well. And then on day 4, we're going to Charles City, Virginia, which is not far, but it's the home to Berkeley Plantation. This was the place where Benjamin Harrison V was born. He was also a signer of the Declaration of Independence. So again, that history continues, as Virginia is just full of history. And so we're going to have a guided tour of the plantation. Here you see a great picture of the welcoming tree inside the front entranceway. And so, again, getting to see some of those types of decorations that are fitting for the period and the time of the home, since it was built in 1726. So you can kind of, again, the history ties in with the type of Christmas decorations that they have in place. And so after that, then we will depart for home and of course do a lunch stop with a rest stop on the way. And then we'll all go home and want to get out our fresh greenery and our vegetables and our fruits and start decorating like they do in Williamsburg.
Yeah, perfect timing. Like it starts right after Thanksgiving that we do this trip, and then we come home and we do our decorations. So
Exactly.
that's awesome. Thank you so much, Sharon. Jane, did you want to add anything? I know you're a huge fan of Colonial Williamsburg at the holidays.
And I've done the illumination many times. The only thing I would suggest is for people to bring a small flashlight with them. Remember, they do not have electric lights on the street, and sometimes it can be dark when you're between the pots that are burning. So just so people are not tripping or whatever, I always recommend bring a small flashlight with you.
Awesome.
Very good.
Awesome. There are 37 people on this trip already. So I think only about 9 spots left. We're working on getting a little bit more space. So, and Karen Coate is your tour director. So I guess this tour, yeah, not too many spots left, maybe somewhere between 9 and 16, depending on how many hotel rooms we have. So if you are interested in this wonderful trip, book that soon. Anybody have any questions for Sharon? Awesome. Awesome. You guys are so good. Thank you very much, Sharon. I reserve the right to invite you back again because you do such a great job. So thank you so much. And last but not least, the most patient of the night is Cheryl Clemens Everidge. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Cheryl is a first timer, so everybody let's welcome, say hey, Cheryl.
Thank you.
It's so good to have you on our Tour Tuesday for the first time, and especially speaking about this great trip. So I am gonna start here just so that you all know I've known Cheryl for a super duper long time through the American Bus Association and all the different organizations that we belong to at Starr and at Air Tours and Toby's Dinner Theater. So I think I knew you were just Cheryl Clemens. So
yeah. I've been at Toby's now for 16, actually it's more than 16 years now. But I have known Sandy as well. So, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you all for welcoming me in and giving me the opportunity to speak. I don't know about you all, but I would love to go on all of those tours. I have been to the Greenbrier, and I think Christine did an amazing job explaining it. It is truly, I have not been to Plymouth, but it's now going to be on my list. And I would love to go up and see that Omni Hotel because that just looked breathtaking.
Yeah.
And I kind of agree with Sandy. I was really hot earlier today in this little heat wave we're having, but I definitely am in the holiday spirit now.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I guess we'll take you from like the Christmas holiday, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and now we're shifting into New Year. So it's a perfect segue.
We're going to finish out year 2023, kicking off 2024. We have a great New Year's Eve, 2-day, 1-night tour. And you actually get to go somewhere pretty exciting before you come to see me. So I don't know if Sandy wants to open up and introduce.
I'll just a quick overview. This tour leaves on Christmas Eve. Sorry, again, I need to like fast forward to New Year's. It leaves on New Year's Eve and returns on New Year's Day. So just a perfect 2-day getaway. You're just changing the scenery pretty much for New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. We're only gone for 2 days. There's 3 meals included, which is kind of great. And the price I think is reasonable, $4.99 per person double and $5.99 per person single. So not a big single additional charge there. So I will let you take it away from here, Cheryl, because I have talked enough.
Well, again, thank you all. I will talk to you a little bit about, the Arundel Mills area. We are not too far from that, but this is where you're going to start. You're going to, I believe, be going in on here on the first day. And the great thing about Arundel Mills is that it is right next to Maryland Live Casino. So you actually have both options. Maryland Live Casino is one of the premier gambling destinations in Maryland. It has, at this point, everything. They have big table games, they have the video, they have the sports book betting now, as long as obviously you can do that as long as you're at the casino, and just anything and everything that you would ever want in a casino. It is beautiful inside, and it's not overwhelming. So I know that sometimes I go into casinos and I get totally turned around and I could not tell you how to get back out. So Maryland Live is kind of nice, and it's sectioned off pretty nicely, so easily navigatable. And if you are not a gambler, the great thing is that it's right across the street from Arundel Mills, and Arundel Mills is one of the largest shopping centers. It has over 200 retail locations in it. It has everything from Coach and Kate Spade to just your everyday, Skechers. I see, Micassa's listed on that photo. They've got just everything. If you're a fan of medieval times, they even have a medieval times located in there. Everybody loves a good, dinner and jousting. But it is great. It's an indoor, so with you all coming right at the end of the year, I'm sure sometimes the weather is a little, iffy. Obviously, it's not going to be like it is today, 100 degrees, but it's a wonderful location, and it's, like I said, it's kind of a gigantic circle, and it's got one in between for you to cut across. But there's really everything there. There's movie theaters. Again, there's different activities. So there's really, I think you could spend your whole day there. And then after you're done with that, you're going to be checking in at the Hampton Inn and Suites, which is a huge very popular destination for all of our tour groups that are going into that area. I'm a big proponent of Hampton Inns. I love them. I saw them listed on another one. I think it's a great tour property myself, because it's reliable. A Hampton Inn is a great, just standard overnight with your breakfast. So, and again, it's right there. So, in the big complex, you will be able to see your hotel from Arundel Mills and from Maryland Live Casino, depending on the angle that you are over there if you walk through to the back of the casino. And then you're going to be finishing out and coming to Toby's, the Dinner Theater of Columbia. So I feel like I'm with all of these other history destinations, and I don't have, we have a little history ourselves. Just to give you a little background, she probably won't be here on New Year's Eve, but Toby is actually a real person. So I don't know if any of you have ever come to us. We are actually going to, we're actually celebrating our 45th anniversary, and she has been at the helm ever since. We are a professional theater that also happens to be a dinner theater, and we are a theater in the round. And she is one of the few women-owned and operated theaters, and she was recruited, actually, if any of you going to your history, if any of you all know about Jim Rouse and the planned communities. Jim Rouse, when he was actually building Columbia, Maryland, as the planned community, actually reached out to her. She is originally from New York and wanted to do this school for the arts. And she also still has that operating, which is our nonprofit. It leans more towards our kids, but that's the Columbia Center for Theatrical Arts. But Toby's the Dinner Theater of Columbia is her passion. And again, we are more of an old school dinner theater. So what's really cool about us is your servers are also the performers, or they might be an orchestra member. We do all of our performances by live orchestra. And because of our facility being in the rounds, we actually don't have an orchestra pit. So our orchestra is up in one of our walls. And you at the end of the show, they'll turn the lights on so you can see them, but they're kind of hidden in plain sight. So it's a great show that evening. It's very nostalgic. It's Miracle on 34th Street. So when you all arrive, we'll bring you all in. We'll greet you, go over a few things, take you into your seats. Again, we're a theater in the round, so there's not a bad seat in the house. And because we are a small, intimate theater, there's no more than 30 feet between our stage and the farthest seat. So very close. You definitely feel like you're part of the production, which is one of the things that I love for all of my groups. After you all get seated, obviously you'll do your dinner. It's a plentiful buffet. There's salad bars. We have, fruit, cheese, different cold salads. Then we have like all of the vegetables and the side dishes. We have a carving station that has roast beef, ham, and turkey. We have 3 other entrees, steamed shrimp. So once you finish all of that, which I can't imagine any of you all would be hungry after everything, then we also have the plated dessert and ice cream station in our that's located right outside of the theater. It's located in a little section in our lobby. And then after you're done that, the show starts at 8 o'clock. And then we will go ahead and, do the full musical performance of Miracle on 34th Street. And then as an added little twist, because it's New Year's Eve and who doesn't like a good dance party, that as soon as the show is and you are finished that, be able to join us on the stage and that a little bit after the show. And then we have
I'm starting to lose Cheryl. Is anybody having trouble hearing Cheryl?
She's breaking up. Yes.
You are starting to break up.
so sorry.
It could be your earphones, the microphone.
Sorry. So sorry.
That's okay. Still losing.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, way better.
Okay, great. And I'm going to pull you a little bit closer, and I apologize. What's happened is that we are running a show. Sister Act, the musical, is on stage right now. I am sitting right next to the stage, and my earbuds are run by Bluetooth, and they're probably being cut off by our sound system because I'm interfering.
Whoops, we hope that they didn't just hear her. Oh no, hold on. Now you're frozen. Oh man. She's not gonna like that. There we go.
There we go. Okay. So once everybody is, like I said, we're having a great time, everybody's dancing, then what's going to happen is, we have a champagne toast that'll happen at midnight. And then right after that, we bring out a breakfast buffet. So, we'll keep you fed. You'll have a great time. You get a little dancing in. And then after you're finished, we'll go ahead and return you back to the hotel, again, where you'll be back at Arundel Mills, that area where Maryland Live was, where you were earlier, where the Hampton Inn is. So
and we get to sleep in.
And you get to kick off an amazing 2024.
Yeah. And we'll start 2024 off at Longwood Gardens, which is decorated beautifully for the holidays. So you'll be able to see Christmas trees and lights and fountains and all kinds of wonderful things at Longwood Gardens, which is a DuPont property as well. Of the many DuPont properties we visit, this is one of them. So can you, Cheryl, tell me about the times? Approximately what time do we get there for Miracle of 34th Street to, we get to Toby's, and then what time do we leave approximately?
Well, because you're doing all of your night's entertainment and you're kicking off your New Year's Eve celebration with us. So you're going to be coming in for dinner. You're going to be arriving at about 6, sometime between 6 and 6:30. You're going to be doing dinner first, and then Miracle on 34th Street starts at 8 o'clock. And then you're going to be finished with Miracle on 34th Street, roughly, I want to say at about 10:15. And then you'll do about, I would say, hour and a half, hour or so dancing before the champagne toast at midnight, and then a little bit more dancing. And they roll the breakfast buffet out typically right after the toast, so people can go up and help themselves. Most people tell me that they're so stuffed from dinner still that they just take a little bit of like a little nibble or a little, just get a little nosh, just to tide you over before you get back and tuck yourselves back into bed. But most
It's just
people are
fun to eat breakfast at midnight, basically. I think it's just like you can say you did it.
Right. So you go out and you party, and then you get to eat your breakfast, and then get a good night's sleep, and then wake up. And like I said, it'll be a really nice night before you guys end up going to Longwood, which is a beautiful property.
We can have a second breakfast in the morning too.
Ooh.
We can start 2024 off with lots of food.
I was going to say, nobody make any New Year's resolutions now, okay?
Exactly. It sounds like a fabulous, fabulous evening. Thank you so much for taking us through that. You guys are thinking of any questions, I will tell you that Gene Gray is the tour director for this trip. I know lots of you know him, and he'll make sure we all have a good time. Again, it departs on New Year's Eve and comes back on New Year's Day. There are 12 people booked so far, so there's lots of room for you to still book. I don't think people have shifted into that New Year's mentality yet, but it's coming.
I was going to say, typically I find that people start to think about New Year's right when the fall weather starts to get a little crisp. So if you're interested in the tour, I would sign up before October starts, because I feel like that's when it usually takes off.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Cheryl. Any questions for Cheryl?
And thank you all again. It was a great first time for me. I think this is an amazing program that Starr does. It's really unusual that a tour company gives you, this much information and is able to, talk to all of the planners and escorts and everything. So what an amazing opportunity.
Yay. I think it's pretty cool too. Thank you very much. And we hope to have you back again sometime when we come back to Toby's.
Well, we announce our season this Saturday. So
all right. I better send me an email. Thanks again, Cheryl. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
There are 2 ways to book your trip. You can call, there's a couple different ways, I guess, at least 2. You can call us. You can call Lindy or Bridget. Either of them are waiting for your call. And remember, if there's nobody that answers and you're prompted with a message, leave a message because we will call you back, or you can always book online. We welcome you to book online. Super easy to do. And we'll send you a confirmation as soon as you book online. So that should be pretty straightforward. And now it's time for our gift card winner. So we would like to present a $25 gift card to the following person. And just to let you know, we will contact you tomorrow or the next day. And for some reason, if we don't, you call us. But the winner for tonight is Tammy Kessler. Let's see if Tammy's still... I see you, Tammy. All right. So you have $25 to spend, whether it's on one of these tours that we talked about tonight or any of the other Starr tours. So congratulations.
I'm going to Cape Cod.
All right. Well, you go to Cape Cod and then you think about where you want to spend the $25 that you just won tonight, because you probably already paid for your Cape Cod trip.
Oh, yeah.
Well, have a great time in Cape Cod. And I want to thank you all for joining us. It means a lot to me that you spend an hour plus, close to an hour and a half of your evening. I really appreciate you. I appreciate the Starr staff that's on tonight. I appreciate our vendor partners that are on tonight. I want to thank you so much. And most of all, I appreciate our travelers. I thank you so much for your time and your patience and your support and your everything that you do for us so that we can make these great trips for you. So I will see you. Hold on. I'm going to see you the first Tuesday in October, where we're going to be talking about holiday day trips. So first Tuesday in October, holiday day trips. And I hope to see you then. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Stay cool. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.